Gentlemen, it's nothing like being fashionably late. We had a committee of the whole meeting that went over. I don't know if we over-agended it. It was just a busy meeting with a lot going on. So let's bring the village board meeting to order. Roughly, 6:25, 6:29. And we'll begin with roll call.
There he is.
Clausen? Here. Anastasio? Here. Doxy?
Here.
Bhatia?
Here.
Washburn?
Here.
Believe Hewitt is coming. And DeGroot.
He's here, and Trustee Hewitt is walking in now. So then we'll move on to item C, Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, we've got some proclaiming to do, and Administrator Murphy, if you'd like to, I'll read the proclamation, but if you just wanted to do the setup for it, being that it's Public Works
I
Week.
think you've got it right there.
Everything's there?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Byer would like to join me? So this is a proclamation in honor of Public Works Week. And being that it is an official proclamation, we have whereas in it. Whereas public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our residents' everyday lives. And whereas it is in the best interest of the citizens of our community to gain knowledge and understanding of safe and efficient operations of public works systems and programs, such as transportation systems, water supplies, water treatment, solid waste systems, and other public buildings and facilities. And whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these services and facilities. And whereas the quality and effectiveness of these services and facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, are dependent on the efforts and skills of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels, both in public and private sectors. Now, therefore, the Village Board of Mount Pleasant do hereby proclaim the week May 21st through the 27th, 2023 as Public Works Week. In the village of, in the village, Public Works Week in the Village of Mount Pleasant, and encourage all citizens to recognize the substantial contributions to public works personnel who make to protect our health, safety, and quality of life. So we will sign this, but I do want to present it to Tony Byer. And if you'd like to say a few words, you may.
Come on, Tony. Tony.
They're asking for your thoughts.
Sorry, that was probably
Go ahead,
inappropriate.
say a few words.
No, I think this is the first time we've done something like this here in the 16 years I've been here. So no, I think this is great, and I think it's good to honor everybody who works not only in our department, but as President DeGroot said, in the private sector, public sector, everyone who makes our streets and utilities safe and, protects the public good. So this is a great thing.
So on behalf of the board, I want to sign off on that. And take it with you. Here you go, sir. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay, so we got the proclamation done, so we're going to move on to public comment. Members of the public are welcome to provide comments on any matter. Please listen for the president to recognize you. State your name and address for the public record. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. I don't have anybody signed up. Clerk has nobody. Anybody wishing to speak public? Not hearing from anybody in the public. We will close public comment. And we will move on to item F, which is our consent agenda of items tonight. Trustee Hewitt. John?
Mr. President, I make a motion to adopt the items on the consent agenda.
Second.
So I hear a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
I vote in favor of all, except I do need to recuse myself on item 10.
So if the clerk would note that trustee Washburn recused herself out of item 10. Thank you, trustee Washburn. So let's move on to new business, community development. Trustee Doxy, item A, discussion possible motion regarding various agreements, including but not limited to the cancellation of certain holding tank agreements and release of easements necessary to facilitate the closing related to the sale of village land located within Area 3 of TID number 5 to the Microsoft Corporation.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve various agreements, including but not limited to the cancellation of certain holding tank agreements, the release of easements, and other related agreements to land title to facilitate the sale of land located within Area 3 of TID number 5 to Microsoft as presented.
Second.
So I hear a motion and a second, and this is something that we discussed, to some length at the committee of the whole meeting just before. But Mr. Lois, if you'd like to just add your thoughts on, because we're kind of packaging a bunch of cats and dogs here.
Yeah, again, as we stated in in Chris's memo, again, it's just a lot of cleanup for the area that Microsoft is purchasing from the village that normally we would have done at some point in time, so they had to be done. Holding tanks, cancellation of some other easements, wells, some gas line that were there before, so it just clears up everything in this parcel 3B that Microsoft is purchasing from the village. So we've been working, quite frankly, pretty diligently to get all this stuff ready for you here. There's 23 items on one, and you just approved the CSM as well. So with this approved, we can then keep on moving forward toward the closure of this land with Microsoft, hopefully in the very near future. Happy to answer any questions if any of the board members have any questions.
Well, so really what we're doing here is we're cleansing the title. So that we can proceed forward with the closing. The title company will be happy, the title insurance can get issued, and all these agreements then have been canceled.
Yep, we've been working on this since obviously the board approved it, title company as well, so everyone's been on board to get everything to where you see it today, so we're there.
We are obligated to provide free and clear title to the company, so this is part of that. Holding tanks being released, obviously they're not going to be putting more holding tanks in there. We Energies will have new easements on the property when they design their site and place those easements appropriately on the site. So this is all pretty free and clear title kind of work that is very exciting. A lot of documents, a lot of work, a lot of research to go into finding all of them, but very exciting to see this moving forward.
Yeah, actually, the holding tanks were long removed and the wells have been capped and all that. It's just the paperwork that never got done, right?
Exactly. And again, we did. We filed the paper with the county, but they're still on the parcel. So again, while we have this one done, fighting for 3B, trust me, we're gonna move forward and get probably the rest of Area 3 cleared as well.
You might as well.
In the near future, yeah, we'll see some of that stuff coming forward. But this one, I mean, we ended up with, starting with 50, we're down to 20. So this is where we're at. The D23, we have to have approval of.
Well, do I need a voice vote or a roll call or what?
Why don't you do a roll call, just
Okay.
because it's 23 agreements, so.
Okay, because it is 23 agreements, we'll have roll call vote on this.
Hewitt,
Aye.
Clausen,
Aye.
Anastasio,
Aye.
Doxy,
Aye.
Batia,
Aye.
Washburn,
Aye.
DeGroot.
Aye, so that motion carries. Go forth and cleanse the title. Because I think that we're all kind of excited about Microsoft closing on that land sale. So let's move on to item B, which is discussion, possible motion regarding the land lease agreement with Menet Aero LLC to lease village-owned land.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve a land lease with Menet Aero LLC to lease village-owned land for the purpose of drone testing.
Second.
So I hear a motion and a second. As memory serves me, we discussed this at a previous COW meeting. But Chris, is this kind of your thing, or is Claude still, or Sam?
This is Sam.
If you just remind us of the couple of details.
So this is a lease for the land that's located past the compost site on West Road. Currently, there's a gate there that prevents the general public from traveling beyond kind of that paved area at the compost site. They'll be leasing the land from the village out there for $1,250 per month. There is a automatic increase in the rent, as well as an early termination clause if, for whatever reason, we'd like to terminate it. So this is essentially land that's out there in the floodplain. You can't put any structures in it or develop it in any other way. I know that Tony has looked at it in the long run for wetland banking or something, environmental improvements out there, but for the time being, it's kind of sitting underutilized and is perfect for the company's drone testing. They run tethered drones out there. A couple of the questions that I've gotten is, how will this interface with the compost site? Generally, we've said that they have to be cooperative with compost regulations and be out there during general work days, so there shouldn't be too much overflow, between weekend hours and things like that. And then also, how will this interface with the RC club to the south? The properties are basically separated by the compost site parcel, so they shouldn't get too close together. But if they are, we do have some cooperative agreement statements in there to make sure that the two clubs cooperate with it. And there's also some statements in the agreement regarding environmental protection because they are in those wetlands out there. There are generally tracks, if you kind of go out there and look at it, that they'll stay on. They're not going to be off-roading throughout the site or anything, but we are protected on the environmental side as well. So, yeah, it's nice to have $1,250 a month for something that the company is isolated. It shouldn't affect a lot of adjacent residents, and it'll be nice to have another technology company using some land in Mount Pleasant. So win-win-win.
Very much so. Hopefully they'll want to join us a little more, other than just flying drones. We have a land for them.
I should shout out our friends at M7, who were definitely, Jim Page and their whole group were really helpful and cooperative in terms of the site selection process. And also shout out to George, our Parks and Rec manager, whose this area was his idea to look at it, and it was the site that ended up working out. So shout out to both M7 and George for the assist on this one.
I have a question. Has the club, the remote control club, been notified?
We haven't
Or will they
notified them
be?
directly because they're not on the RC parcel at all. So they're separated on different parcels. We haven't notified them, but there is the cooperation stuff in the agreement. So if there are any conflicts that arise, we'll likely play mediator and try to make sure everyone stays. But it's not like there's going to be hundreds of drones flying out there. It'll be like one big commercial drone that's tethered to like a utility vehicle, like a little four-wheeler that they'll be taking around. So it's not like there will be tons of people out there or anything. It's a pretty small testing operation that they'll have.
Okay.
No Star Wars out there?
Yeah, no. I think when people hear drone testing, they think there's going to be like fleets of them out there, and it should be pretty low-key.
I've got a feeling that there'll be some board members that would be interested in a demonstration. So if that can get worked out, I think that we'd be happy to see that.
Duly noted. I'll let the company know when we return the signed lease to them, and hopefully we can set something up.
Cool. So in the matter of the lease agreement with Menet Aero LLC, we'll do just all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So,
It's okay.
so the motion carries.
Just let it go.
Let's move on to Public Works. We've got discussion possible motion to award a contract to the low bidder, Wanasek Corporation, in the amount of $716,642 for the installation of public road and related utilities.
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to award that contract to the low bidder, Wanasek Corporation, in the amount of $716,642 for the installation of a public road and related utilities.
Second.
So I hear a motion and a second. Mr. Byer, if you could just fill us in a little bit.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. This is the contract for the Via Vita Public Improvements. This is a short road extension with storm sewer and utility extensions that will serve the senior living facility that's going in west or east of Airline Road and north of Spring Street. The bids came in, or the low bid came in lower than the engineer's estimate, and the village will be bonding for this funding in 2023 here.
So this is for that land that's just west of Roma Lodge.
And this is located in TID's, oh, no,
No
sorry,
TID.
wrong, no TID, this is not in the TID district, that's right.
Any other questions of Tony? Okay. So in the matter of the Wanasek contract, roll call, please.
Clausen,
Aye.
Anastasio,
Aye.
Doxy,
Aye.
Batia,
Aye.
Washburn,
Aye.
Hewitt,
Aye.
DeGroot.
Aye, so the motion carries. So we've got a discussion possible motion to approve Resolution 8-2023, preliminary resolution declaring intent to exercise special assessment powers granted by Section 70-51 of the Municipal Code and Section 66.0701 of state statutes for new curb and gutter construction on Kinsey Avenue in the Village of Mount Pleasant.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the preliminary resolution 8-2023, declaring an intent to exercise special assessment powers for Kinsey Avenue for installation of curb and gutter.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Mr. Byer.
Thank you, Mr. President. So again, as stated, this is the first step in the assessment process for the curb and gutter that is to be installed on the Kinsey Avenue reconstruction project. This resolution essentially is the board's way of declaring intent to assess, and subsequently, the village engineer has to prepare an engineer's report with an assessment schedule, and then following that, that's filed with the clerk, who will then schedule a public hearing, and that will follow with the final assessment to levy those assessments.
Mr. President, this is part of, we've talked about the Kinsey Avenue project. It's a short roadway. This is the curb and gutter portion, but don't forget what this is also doing is completing a connection of the water main and a loop on water main for the Kinsey Avenue residents. So we did have a couple of them attend meetings. They, the ones that attended were obviously in favor and very much looking forward to having municipal water in front of their homes, as well as the nice roadway cross-section.
Tony, have the resident been informed? Do they know that the
Yes.
special assessment is coming up?
Yes, because of how few residents there are, there's about 12 that are affected. Instead of having an informational meeting for this project, we actually invited them all in individually or as groups. And the ones that wanted to come in, I think we had about half of them come in. And I'd say another 3 or 4 we've been in contact with. So they've had their questions answered. I mean, the letter we sent out inviting them told them, this
Okay.
is happening, this is typically assessed by the village. So they're told right up front that this is something we plan on
Okay,
doing,
but
so.
was any of them negative or
No.
are concerned about the, extra assessment they have to pay, no?
No, and surprisingly, no. Typically, you get
Yeah.
one or two, but this time we haven't had any negative feedback.
Okay, so they do see the value in that then.
They seem to understand.
Awesome, thank you.
Anybody else? Good. Okay, so then in the matter of Resolution 8-2023, roll call, please.
Clausen,
Aye.
Anastasio,
Aye.
Doxy,
Aye.
Batia,
Aye.
Washburn,
Aye.
Hewitt,
Aye.
DeGroot.
Aye. Motion carries. So we've got item C, discussion, possible action regarding a relocation order for the water main easement extension in the vicinity of 6200 Taylor Avenue, property owned by Bonnie Roner Sorensen and John J. Roner.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve a resolution for the relocation order for a water main easement extension in the vicinity of 6200 Taylor Avenue as presented.
Second.
So I hear a motion and a second. Who wants to take
I
on
can
this?
take it. This is to extend the water through TID 6 to serve development that was approved earlier this year. This easement will run right next to the existing sanitary sewer easement. So we're just going through the process to acquire that easement so we can extend the water.
I know that trustee Washburn wanted to have a few words on this.
Yeah, and Sam Schultz and I both, this was really interesting to me. This property owner was given the opportunity by the developer to have a water main run through their property next to an existing sanitary sewer that they granted the easement for previously, under what will be a future neighborhood road that is firmly committed to in TID 6 and in our neighborhood plan. And I knew the family personally, and I was kind of shocked as I heard these discussions going on and knew that there was a problem. So Sam and I both talked about it together, and we agreed. In fact, it was in one of the committee of the whole meetings where I asked if Sam and I could have at least the opportunity to invite the family in and meet personally with them. Because I'm a neighbor, because I'm a trustee, because I understand development, I thought if there was something I could do to help the family understand the situation. And Sam and I were horribly disappointed in the way the meeting went. We were disappointed that it was a difficult family dynamic, we could tell that. And it was, we left that meeting with them saying that they were gonna get back to the developer and make a counteroffer, and that they were gonna do this right away, within 2 days. John Roner understood the timeline and the immediacy of the situation. And nothing came of it. So I think that we as a municipality, us as trustees, we have a direct responsibility to, I think by doing this, we are protecting both the TID 6 and the Roner's land. This is where the water main easement should go. It's under a future road. It's where it's connecting water and looping it through the fiduciary site. It's the preferred route of Racine wastewater in the area. And I think that, it's very much needed for the protection of TID 6 and the property. It's not hurting their property at all. There's no homes being torn down. They can still farm the land, which is what they do with it. They also made a statement in the meeting that we held with them. I asked them what was their intention for the land. Did they want to farm it forever? What's their intention? And the answer we got is they want to sell it. So they will now have the opportunity, their property will be fully improved, it'll be assessed, but it'll be fully improved. They could have had that at no charge. And we still don't, I don't understand, but we're doing what I believe is right to keep our TID healthy and to support the project.
It's a big enhancement to the property.
It is, yes, John, it is a very big enhancement to the property. Sam, I don't know if you have anything to add, but
Yeah, I think Nancy summarized it well. This is not something that we're just pulling out of our hat here. It's part of an approved TID plan, which was based off a former approved neighborhood plan. Also some plans that are shown on the comprehensive plan. The water utility has seen the engineering documents, so they know the size of the main and stuff, which is dictated to us by the water utility for their service recommendations. So other than that, I think Nancy gave a good summary.
So is this assessment, does that get billed out straight away, or is this one of those that gets held until the likely purchaser and developer, end up exercising on it, and, then that gets hashed out between the seller and the developer?
Per the ordinance, we'll have to see how the final costs lay, because depending on the cost levels, there are different mechanisms for recouping costs. So I'm hesitant to say until we know the final cost, but
Sure.
it's likely would be a burden on the future property purchaser. But until that's done, it's hard to say.
Sure. Any other thoughts?
Nope.
Okay, so in the matter of the relocation order for 6200 Taylor Avenue, roll call, please.
Clausen,
Aye.
Anastasio,
Aye.
Doxy,
Aye.
Bhatia,
Aye.
Washburn,
I,
Hewitt,
Aye.
DeGroot.
Aye, motion carries. Item 6, discussion motion on approving the 2023 sewer and water connection charges.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2023 sewer and water connection charges as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second. Mr. Byer?
Thank you again, Mr. President. Typically, this connection charge schedule is updated every year to, based on inflation, market rates, whatever it may be. In this instance, it's being updated for the Kinsey Avenue reconstruction, specifically the new water main that is going to connect to either end of the project. So now that we've awarded the contract, we have a bid schedule for what it's going to cost to install that water main. That allowed me to go ahead and run the calculations to provide a connection charge for each benefited property. And that charge is $11,520 per property.
Any questions for Tony or other discussion?
We've adopted the other charges are already in place. So
Right.
this is just really
Connection.
almost like a special for Kinsey Avenue because it is its own project and it is so unique. So that's why it seems a little higher, but it's a specific project. Is that correct, Tony?
Well, it's the only water connection fee on here.
Right.
So it's not that the other water connection fees wouldn't be high if they were based on a city Racine schedule. Or
Right, the
applicable.
sanitary
So,
is the only one that we manage otherwise.
Yes.
Okay. So in the matter of approval of the 2023 sewer and water connection charges, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So that motion carries. Reports, trustee Clausen.
Nothing to report tonight.
So then there's one last motion.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
I hear a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.